Olá, meus amigos do canal Night Vila Belmiro, informações para você do Santos aqui nesta manhã de segunda-feira, onde nós vamos tratar de assuntos seríssimos. Aliás, quero deixar bem claro para você que nós vamos trazer aqui agora uma pequena reportagem, né? Vamos trazer o áudio, o vídeo do Textor, exatamente, Jhon Textor falando a respeito da arbitragem da Série A do ano passado. Tudo isso e muito mais eu falo para você após a vinheta. Você vai gostar de saber dessa notícia. Bem, meus amigos do canal Night Vila Belmiro, bom dia para você. Segunda-feira maravilhosa, que Deus abençoe vocês, que todos tenhamos um ótimo dia, abençoado por Deus, produtivo para cada um de nós. Pessoal, as notícias, elas não param de acontecer, né? O caso que tem repercutido na mídia, que nós trouxemos aí na semana anterior, a respeito do Jhon Textor, ele que fala sobre a questão da corrupção na arbitragem e criou uma polêmica muito grande em cima de tudo isso. As pessoas querem ter certeza do que está acontecendo, se realmente isso é verdade, em que fim, que pé que tá essas notícias, né? Pessoal, a informação que eu tenho, aliás, tenho e vou passar aqui para vocês. Nós temos aí um vídeo do próprio Jhon Textor, né, sendo entrevistado e falando a respeito dessa corrupção dentro da arbitragem. Ele que fala que tem uma gravação que comprova coisas ilícitas dentro do futebol, principalmente na questão do ano passado da Série A, né? Onde ele acredita que alguns clubes foram prejudicados com a questão da arbitragem. Ele fala que tem uma gravação onde um árbitro fala que não recebeu, tal, não sei o quê, enfim, toda aquela história que você já conhece, que infelizmente não é só no Brasil que tem, é no mundo inteiro, mas parece que no futebol as coisas começam a crescer num nível muito alto, muito preocupante. Até porque, aliás, eu vou até comentar com vocês aqui, eu tenho um amigo meu, amigo não, tenho um cunhado meu, que é muito bacana, um corintiano fervoroso, que perdeu um pouco a vontade de curtir o futebol, perdeu um pouco a vontade de torcer para o futebol, depois que ele descobriu muitas coisas erradas dentro dos clubes, né? Ele era um cara assíduo, frequentador de estádios, e uma vez ele comentou comigo que perdeu um pouco a graça, que torce ainda pelo Corinthians, né? É torcedor do Corinthians, mas que ele ficou muito desanimado com as informações que ele tinha lá dentro do clube, coisas que ele ficou sabendo que deixou muito enojado, e ele falou que perdeu um pouco o brilhantismo, né, do futebol, o romantismo, aquela coisa que você tem amor pelo clube, que você vai para o campo, você torce, você acredita que tudo ali, né, está sendo decidido dentro de campo, que não há nada errado para fora. E aí quando você começa a descobrir algumas coisas, você fica meio que chateado, né, porque o futebol é emoção, o futebol mexe com todo mundo, né, as pessoas que gostam, as pessoas que dependem do futebol. Então, acaba mexendo um pouco e tirando o brilhantismo, né, do futebol nessa questão que a gente acredita ser uma coisa que poderia ser resolvida sempre dentro do futebol, sem que houvesse a questão da corrupção, a questão do dinheiro, do marketing, enfim. Casos muito sérios, como o do Santos mesmo, como teve ali o jogador do Santos, o zagueiro, que me fugiu o nome agora, envolvido, né, em questão de apostas e tal. Então você começa a entender que tem muita coisa realmente que precisa ser corrigida, precisa ser arrumada, para que o futebol brasileiro não perca o seu encanto, né? Então essa polêmica do Jhon Textor está crescendo muito. E nessa manhã aqui eu trago para você uma pequena reportagem. Eu vou colocar agora para você acompanhar comigo o que fala o Jhon Textor sobre a gravação que ele tem a respeito da crise, né, no ano passado, quando parece ter ouvido fraude no futebol brasileiro. Acompanha comigo aí o vídeo, eu volto em seguida.
Look, we talked about it coming out of last season, difficult end. I'm the guy that says no rear view mirror, right?
Yes.
That's my belief. I look forward in life. We learned some things. We learned from the past. We learned what happened last year. Many of our fans have a good idea of what they saw happen on the field, we have a very good idea of what was happening off the field. And it's my job to learn these things, to stay on these things, to defend this organization. I came here because I was invited to help bring new ideas and new things to Brazil. And what I learned about some of the problems of the past, you generally hear people talk about all over the world. It's a problem in global football. People think I'm attacking Brazil. I'm not. What I'm trying to do is bring some of what we've learned globally, where they're trying to fix match fixing. They're trying to change it. We're trying to improve referees by training, pay them more, make them go full time. These are the themes that, I brought to Brazil as one person, among other leaders of SAFs, among other reformists that are here in Brazil, things we talked about in Libra. This is the benefit of forming the new league. So why are we talking about corruption? The coach, the players, they're talking about next year. You see, we're ready to go like everybody else. Everybody's getting ready for the new campaign. One of the unfortunate bits of aftermath of my public statements that night, when I went to the sideline of Palmeiras, I already had the evidence of things that happened prior to that game. We have a knowledge of, it's not about referees. It's about a couple of referees, right? We had knowledge of what had happened in some games. We have an eye in the sky that has never before been possible in watching football games. It's machine learning. It's computer vision. We all have the capacity as human beings to watch individual moments and plays. And we see the field, but we've got a lot of other things going on. The average person cannot digest millions of pixels and movements and kinetic action all over the field. We can focus on a few things. Computer vision allows us to see everything, every minute of the game, every key moment, every second of the game, all the players, measure their tendencies, see what's wrong. So we're talking about this to make sure that last year never happens again. And I'm not talking about the Botafogo fans saying we can never again see a lack of motivation. Our players had to deal with things that were going on off the field, and I believe they knew it. And I saw, 14 out of 17 games we won, and then the world changed. Really? Did that just happen? Did suddenly everybody get bad? No. Football's bad. Other players are good. We had great competition. We had great teams. The people we're going after aren't the players of Palmeiras. There's not one player at Palmeiras involved in the match fixing that we're looking at in Palmeiras games. There's not one official that we are aware of in leadership in the organization, not a coach, not anybody at Palmeiras that we believe is involved, that we know is involved in fixing Palmeiras games. This is a battle for the soul of our sport, and we all need to be together. There is not one allegation that I've made against Edinaldo, and what was lost in translation from my emotion, you look at the film, I never once said this man is corrupt. I don't know him. I've never met with him. He is a leader of this very big organization, and he has his job and I have mine, and we have not come to communicate. I can tell you, I'm talking about corruption because I'm being sued for comments I made about corruption. I feel very comfortable that, there's an olive branch in both directions between us and CBF as we get ready for the new season. I believe that they've also, I think, probably been looking at the issue too. It's impossible not to. And we feel right now, my current belief, people need to stop putting words in my mouth, talking about me and Edinaldo. Like he's an agent of change in a different way. I'm an agent of change in a different way. We all have our approach. I believe he is going to be on the right side of history, and I believe he's going to be helpful, but we have to provide the evidence. So what's happening with the lawsuit, my perception is it was filed, it was emotional. I think he had concerns about what he thought was said, and I think he may have very well been justified to defend himself and his name based on what he thought I was saying. I think I've learned a lot about communication in this country. And so what I've done, I would ask everybody in leadership in the sport to do a little bit, right? If you're in the sport court and you're a judge, stop talking to the press about the crazy gringo and covering his bad performance, because you are on the wrong side of history. You don't have the data. You haven't seen the evidence. When we tried to show the evidence to the sport court the first time, it was 74 pages. It was match fixing on a specific game. It was people coming and paying players to tank a game. And that got 18 hours of consideration by the sport court before they immediately came out with a statement and said, this is nothing, there's no legal grounds. Well, 10 years of technology, reputation, the people that created that report, they've been in Brazil looking at these games for long before we got here. And they were immediately discredited by people that don't want this conversation to say, well, Botafogo hired him, you can't listen to them. Oh my goodness, that's unhelpful for the evolution of our sport. They were here before us. They'll tell you, they have clients that lose money, professional organizations and betting companies and governing bodies and others that want a clean game. They have others that lose money when it's a fixed game. That's why they were here. That's how we met them. That's how we found out about match fixing in 2021, 2022, 2023. I didn't make this stuff up to cover the fact that Adrielson had a highly inappropriate red card that even the sport court came behind afterwards and said, highly inappropriate red card, changed the game, changed the championship. And if I talk about it, people in the press are saying I'm crying. I don't cry. Come at me if you're going to say that. I'm here communicating with information. I'll go on TV, I'll be interviewed, but the jokers that are in positions of power that want to minimize this because of reasons I don't understand. I'm not here to impugn anybody's integrity. Evidence. Look, we're talking about corruption because the lawsuit is still open. If you want me to stop talking about corruption, don't keep an active criminal lawsuit against the leader of an organization in court for months and months and months. It'll be years going into the next season. I was invited to help build the sport, but I'm in court defending my desire to push reforms in this sport. So I do think that lawsuit's going to go away because I know the people that filed it seem to be agents of change in their own way, making a lot of progress on these issues separate from us. I don't think that's a fight that's going to last long. I think we're going to be fine with the CBF. So let me talk about everybody else. Globo. When I give you a direct quote and I ask to be recorded and I put it there, if you are not trying to manipulate my language, then why do you wrap it in an article about a lot of other nonsense that I'm not talking about? I have never once said that I have a referee on tape involved in match fixing a game in Serie A or related to Botafogo in Serie A or Serie B. That's never been said. So the incredible lack of direct communication that happens here by a major media company, I'm not going to allege what their agenda is. I'm learning down here. But why would Globo take the straight audio tape of my comments yesterday with a trusted reporter who maybe was in a fight with his editors? I don't know. And the article I read today is an incredibly misleading mischaracterization of what I said. They have the tape, translate it, put it in Portuguese. I gave them permission. What I read this morning, the referee tape, to clarify, my state of mind at the end of last season, as I saw what we believe and can prove now was corruption, was environmental. I was given a recording by an official connected with CBF. It was validated, authenticated. It was told to me by credible authorities here, not journalists, not agents. that it was also in the hands of the police, that had been in the hands of governing bodies for a year. And it was a lower division. It's a game that is known to us. There's a coach, there's a team, there are people that we have authenticated. And it is a tape of a referee talking about he was upset that he lost money because the game he was trying to fix did not go the way he was trying to influence. He was specific. He gave a minute on the clock that he awarded a PK that he shouldn't have. And the striker of the ball in the PK hit the post, and he complained, and he said, I did everything I could. And I will trust others to do the Portuguese translation because I will produce his audio today. It's a karaoke accent. It allowed us to identify the ref, the point in time that he talks about in the game, the event in the game, the PK, the extra minutes he talks about on tape, that when that didn't work, he tried everything, but he couldn't find another PK. I believe this is what the translation will say, but in my language, I want to be very careful that people need to rely on the tape, not on what I'm saying. And so I think what concerned me at the time is that people often talk about corruption and they throw players into the mix all the time because that's the easy one. Somebody was paid for a yellow card. It's not even illegal. People find out. They apologize. I don't know what the recourse is. Remedies are in different parts of the world. But around the time that tape was in the hands of governing bodies, there was a match-fixing report that was also produced. I believe it was sent, and we provided evidence of this to the court already. The match-fixing report related to a game in the end of 2022. It was a Palmeiras game. There appears to be no evidence that Palmeiras was involved. It was Palmeiras Fortaleza. That evidence was sent to the CBF. I don't know who it got to at the CBF. I am not alleging that it made it out of the mailroom at the CBF. I wasn't involved. So I have match-fixing evidence that we've now looked into from prior years before Botafogo was involved. The jokers out in the world that talk about us crying, do I look like I'm crying?
No.
No, I'm not crying. I'm doing my best to help. So this company was here before us. They were analyzing games before us. Betting companies lose money when there's match fixing. Why do they hire them? Well, they can't fix it, so they don't want to lose money. I would suspect that they hire firms like this because they want to set the odds. Somebody's going to have to translate the gambling numbers to adjust for the risk in that particular game. That one team with consistent manipulation, not speaking about Palmeiras specifically here, but talking about the concept. If there's a team that has a lot of activity, a lot of strange betting activity, manipulation happens, well, these guys know it. They don't go to the press. They're running a business. They're trying to run an actuarial business. So that's why we're talking about this. That's what our evidence shows.
Tá aí, galera. Jhon Textor falando, aí você viu os detalhes, né? Deu para você acompanhar aí. Ele fala americano, mas tem a tradução. Então você viu ele falando que tem uma gravação que comprova, tal. E isso ainda vai dar muito pano para manga. Teve pessoas que até não estavam acreditando muito nisso. No dia que eu informei para vocês aqui no canal, passou, né? Eu estava aqui dando uma garibada nos jornais e o próprio SBT entrou com essa matéria falando da polêmica aí do Jhon Textor, né? Depois a Rede Record também acabou passando, enfim. Isso é uma coisa que ainda vai dar muito pano para manga. Ninguém aqui está dizendo que agora o Santos vai voltar para a Série A. Não, ninguém está falando. Longe disso, galera. Longe disso, tá? Poderia acontecer isso? Até poderia. Poderia. Se for comprovado, se fosse realmente comprovado isso aí, poderia. Mas isso é uma causa enorme, uma coisa que não se decide em dias, meses. Isso aí pode demorar anos para resolver isso aí, se é que realmente aconteceu tudo isso. Então não haveria espaço mesmo. Então não vamos pensar nessa questão, o Santos poderia voltar para a Série A. Até poderia, dependendo do regime, das leis, da concordância, daquilo que se faz dentro do futebol, na área jurídica, poderia sim até ter uma mudança. Mas eu acho muito pouco provável. Agora, que tem que correr atrás para descobrir realmente se isso é verdade que está acontecendo, tem que descobrir, porque senão vai acontecer a mesma coisa de novo. A gente vai estar aqui torcendo para o nosso time, vamos estar aqui vibrando pro nosso time, sabendo que tem coisa errada acontecendo por trás. Então isso aí precisa ser corrigido. Beleza, galera? Então tá aí para vocês informações, mais um pouquinho aí dessa polêmica do Jhon Textor. Espero que você tenha gostado e que você possa se inscrever no canal, compartilhar e nos ajudar aí. Ó, pessoal, muito obrigado a todos vocês. Ontem eu estava vendo aqui, nós estávamos com 7.508 inscritos e, para minha surpresa, para minha alegria, fechamos a noite ontem com mais de 8.000 seguidores aqui no canal Night Vila Belmiro. Graças a você que é um colaborador e está sempre nos ajudando. Forte abraço, Deus abençoe e voltamos já já com mais dos Santos.